Yo, what up? It's Teddy, Caravan Crypto, and we are going to get into Bitcoin versus gold. Which one's better? We're going to look at a few different scenarios. Okay, let's get into this a little bit. First of all, Bitcoin's price is $9,579. I do not know why. I mean, like I can kind of understand why, there's lots of news, lots and lots and lots and lots of bullish news. Watch The Modern Investor on his YouTube channel for the last 4 days, and you will see a ridiculous amount of bullish news. It's trillions of dollars set to enter the market, possibly. And I could see why that might drive up the price of Bitcoin. Um, so yeah, other cryptocurrencies are doing pretty well because if Bitcoin does well, most of the other ones do pretty well. Lots of the charts are looking very similar. Yeah, let me see if there's any up 23.28% in 24 hours. Digibyte. Whew. I think I think you got some Digibyte. It's tucked away somewhere long, long time ago. I think we do 23.28% in 24 hours. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, pretty good. And conversely, Compound is negative 22.5% in the last 24 hours. Listen, man. So Compound is a token. I don't know if you've been hearing about it much on many crypto channels and whatnot, but Compound is actually just being listed on Coinbase just recently, and because it's listed on Coinbase, it basically pumped crazy. And most of the time, anytime a coin gets listed to Coinbase, many people, I mean, it pumps because Coinbase is like one of the most popular on ramps from fiat to crypto. And an on ramp is just basically an exchange, some place that'll take your fiat and give you crypto back. No one knows what Compound is. I cannot believe it is the top 22 market cap coin. That's insane. It should not be here. No one's heard of it. There's so many more coins that should be listed on Coinbase way before this one. This came out of nowhere, out of literally nowhere. And I do believe they paid to play. Okay, so they paid Coinbase to list it on their exchange. Just because an exchange lists a coin does not mean it's a good coin that you should own and invest in. Again, this is not financial advice, but I'm just going to leave that little tidbit for you to ponder upon next time you're looking at some coin you haven't never heard of that gets listed somewhere or pumps, and you're like, man, I should buy some of that. Just be cool and just watch yourself, all right? Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna get into gold versus Bitcoin. For some reason, when you bring up cryptocurrencies, people are obsessed with pitting it against gold. Gold is a classic commodity that could be used to hedge against inflation, but according to its returns, that's pretty much all it does is beat inflation compared to many other things. Like, okay, look, if you're just trying to invest in something to get a return, so many other forms of investments would yield you much better returns than gold. But it's relatively steady, or people think anyway. Um, so all right. So it beats inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is basically the decrease of the buying value of a fiat currency in a given period. So or anything, any kind of currency in a given period, but we mostly talk about it with fiat. And the reason why we do that is because they could just print fiat willy nilly, thus driving down the buying power of each fiat dollar that's out there. So what does that mean? Okay, let's say I could buy, 10 chicken nuggets for $1 uh, one year in year 2019. And let's say in the year 2020, because inflation may be 10%, that same dollar only buys me 9 chicken nuggets. The value, the resources that created that nugget increased by 10% in terms of fiat, thus decreasing the buying power of the fiat dollar, each fiat dollar. Okay, I know it's tough. It might be a little bit difficult to understand, but the more you have of something, the less valuable that thing becomes because there's more of it when it comes to like currency or assets or commodities and whatnot. All right, so let's take a look. The U.S. inflation rate by year from 1929 to 2022, which they can't do 2022 because it's not here yet. So it's just a forecasted joint. So in 1929 we had 0.6% inflation, and we got to negative 6.4%. So this means, so in 0.6% inflation, that means that your buying power decreased by less than 1% in that year. And then in this year, in 1930, your buying power decreased. Your buying power increased by 6.4%. So you could buy more with the same dollar than you did last year. So in 1929, you made money and you saved a ton of money. In 1930, if you spent that money, you got more bang for your buck on the money you saved on from last year. It stretched a longer way. And it did an even better job in 1931, and it did an even better job in 1932, and then it starts to suck, and it's real bad. In the 40, you lose 9% of your money. In 41, 9.9% of your money every year. You lose more of that every year. In 1946, holy moly, you lose 18% in terms of buying power. Okay, 18%. It's crazy. It's nutty. And then we get to, it stays like that, and then we kind of taper off down here in the 80s and the 90s. If we continue reading, we're in the 2000s, 0.1% inflation. That's great. The year before was 4.1. It's pretty bad. Not as bad as way back in the day, but still pretty bad. And then in the 2010s, in the teens, we're between about 1% and 2%, roughly. 2020, they project 0.8% inflation. Yeah, right. They printed a third or a fourth. Actually, they printed like 40% of the United States GDP in the first 2 quarters. So, yeah, good luck with that one. 0.8%, sure. Anyway, so yeah, I know you're looking at it. You're like, dude, Teddy, it's like 2%, 1%. Like, dude, who cares about inflation? Well, the thing is, it's 2% and 1%, but over 10 years, 2% becomes 20%. 4% over 10 years becomes 40%. That means your dollar is buying 40% less than what it could buy before, right? So if you were getting 10 chicken nuggets for $1, you're only getting 6 chicken nuggets for that same dollar, right? And that becomes a problem, especially when you consider that wages don't increase at the same rate and the costs of goods increase as inflation increases, right? All right, so people, this could be disastrous, right? So people look at this and they say, you know what? I don't need no money. I just want gold. Let me put my savings into gold. And, it's pretty good. It's good. If we look at a chart that adjusts for inflation, we can get like a more accurate picture of gold and how it worked. So in 1915, it wasn't $493 per ounce. Okay, that's not what it was per ounce. This is adjusting for inflation. So it's telling you that the where the dollar was in 1915, it could buy you per ounce as much as $493 today would buy you, right? That's the price, right? So it was probably like, I don't know, $2, back then. But if we adjust for inflation today to look at what that really means in terms of the price, we're seeing how much gold today's dollar could have bought, right? So it would have took $493 to buy an ounce of gold in today's dollars. And if we look at that, the buying power of the U.S. dollar, and we look at it in comparison to today, Gold sucks from 1915 to about 1920. And then from 1920, gold is awesome until 1934. But then, for like 40 years, dude, 1934 gold is cool, tapers off, and then blah, just dumps all the way down here, right? And in 1971, you basically lost like 60% of your money, about 70%, something like that, from the last 40 years if you just held it in gold. Okay, but then from 71, it goes up and up and up, kills that last all-time high, and it hits $904 right here, which is like 400%. Boom, just about a little less. Comes back down, corrects to 527, and it takes 5 years. So it took 4 years to go to this all-time high price, $904, and then it took another 2 years to come down and correct down here in this little valley, $514, and then before the decade is over, we're hitting bang, $2,000, $2,158 per ounce of gold, 1980. It's pretty good for a 10-year stretch, dude. This thing did 10x, damn near, about 9. But that's hella good for a 10-year stretch, especially from 1970 to 1980. Like, what was doing 1,000% in 10 years? I don't know. And I'm sure this is where gold got its reputation from, for being this, awesome thing to invest in. Because from here, for the next 20 years, we're coming down here to $377 per ounce. Now remember, these aren't the prices that they were at this time. This is what the buying power is of a dollar in comparison to gold. How much, in today's dollars, okay? Because if we don't do that, if we don't adjust for inflation, we get a little bit of a skewed view, right? And then from 2000 for the next 20 years, we started off at 382, and now we're at 1728, which is great. That's like a 5x. It's like almost a 6x, which is awesome. That's great. Nothing's doing 600%. Very little is doing 600%. And I'm going to try to keep this video short. I know we're already kind of going long. We're at, about 12 minutes right now. All right, so let's do the percentage decrease calculator. Actually, we don't even need to do that. Don't worry about that. Okay, now look. This is an inflation-adjusted graph. If we didn't adjust for inflation and we just look at dollar values, in 1915, we're looking at a $20 ounce of gold. And if we just look at price, only looking at price, yeah, gold goes crazy over the last 100 years. It goes nuts. It goes insane. We're looking at 1728 from $20. That's an insane. Let's see what the differential on that is. So if our initial value is $20 and our final value is $1,728, you're looking at an increase of 8,540%. But keep in mind, this is over 100 years ago, okay? You'd have to hold this the whole way. You'd have to purchase your gold down here, dump your savings in it, and then hold it all the way through all of this to reap the benefits of having this price today. This price differential, 8,000% differential in your investment, return on your investment. Now the reason why you would invest in gold throughout all this time is because if you understood how the dollar is just not a dependable, like fiat money is not a dependable system. It's not reliable. It is going to collapse at some point. We place a lot of trust in the hands of people who don't necessarily have a great track record, and we trust them not to print money ad infinitum, meaning to infinity, just keep on printing it, but they do that anyway, right? So That's why you would invest in something like gold, right? Compared to your dollar, it's probably going to hold up pretty well. Like at the end of the day, let's say you have no idea when the banking collapse would happen, when the collapse of a Federal Reserve, a central bank collapse would happen. And so having gold would ensure that you have a tremendous amount of your wealth stored up. Your savings maintains its value. All right. However, back then, like, that was one of the only ways you could guarantee that. You could hold that. This, I'd say, like, you could have done stocks and stuff in here and all that, but if you just wanted to make sure that you had a tangible asset you could hold on to, you could store, you could control, that was gold. If your house could get foreclosed on, your gold isn't going anywhere though. You could always have your gold. Um, Barring a robbery or something like that. And that's what the importance of gold really is making sure that as you're working, as you're saving money, storing it in something that isn't going away, right? That you can hold on to, you can control. That's the real purpose of holding on to gold. Now I know that what people say, right? People say all kinds of stuff, right? So we're gonna look at three scenarios. Um, the first scenario is the use cases of gold, because people say, "Well, Teddy, yeah, you could just have gold bars in your safe, but there's so many other things you could use gold for. Gold is used in computer chips and cell phones, and it makes really pretty jewelry, and it lines space rockets, and you could have gold leaf cloth, and gold is good for your body in certain amounts and stuff like that." Great, it's all great, awesome. However, you ain't doing none of that with it. Maybe the jewelry part, and sometimes you might be going for the whole gold in your body thing, but you know, you're really trying to look at this to make some money, right? You want to make some money. You want to increase the value of your investment over time. That's what you want to do. So don't give me all this like use cases for gold and stuff like that. Y'all are not using it for that. That's a moot point. It's brought up all the time, like especially in like Bitcoin versus gold debates and whatnot. It's pointless to bring that up. No one's using that for that purpose. And matter of fact, the majority of people out there buying gold are not buying physical gold. They're buying a contract for gold or shares in a company that mines gold, refines gold, whatever. That's what they're doing. They're not actually buying gold, right? And I think the best way that you should invest in gold is to buy it and have it and store it and secure it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some random dude on YouTube, but I wouldn't put my investment in the hands of a company who is going to custody my gold. It's not going to happen. I just, if I'm going to buy gold, I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to have it. Okay. All right. Anyway, so let's look at Bitcoin versus gold in terms of returns. Okay. And you know what? We're not going to use the inflation adjusted chart. We're just going to look at price over the last 10 years. Let me see if inflation would fix it. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't make it worse. Okay. Gold 10 years ago, $1,500 an ounce. Oh, sorry. I'm in June 2011. Let me widen this a little bit. Let me get a little bit more of a thing. Okay, look. Now it's looking better. August 2010. Let's go back a little further. All right. We're in July 2009. Let's go to June 2009, okay? $934 per ounce, okay? So if we have our percentage increase calculator, we have $934 per ounce, and we end up at 1725, right? We're just gonna leave that. Let's give it 1728. Okay, awesome. Our percentage increase is 85%. So 10 years ago, if you put away $100, you made 108. I mean, you made 85 on top. You got back $185. Look at you, balling, huh? I mean, if we're talking about gold as an investment strategy, this is what we're realistically looking at. And you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, man. Let's just say you bought it at $700. Let's say you bought it. Let's use that as the metric. Okay, $700, 146% return. That means that you put 100 down, you got your 100, and you got 46. You got your 100, you got another 100, and then you got $46 back, right? Your $1,000 investment turned into 2,500. Great. Over 10 years, dude. Over 10 years. You got to think, man. Like, let's say you put $100,000 in there. You got back 246,000 over 10 years. That means your $100 gave you an income each year. $100,000 gave you an income each year of $24,000. Now, it's not something you're probably gonna live on. I think it's probably not something that you're gonna live on. But you know, it's substantial. That's pretty good. It gives you 24 grand a year for 10 years. Man, that's pretty good. Not bad. Go get you another 100,000, throw it in there, and be at 50,000 a year for 10 years. It's great. All right, now let's look at Bitcoin over the last 10 years. Okay, look, we're not even going to start in 2009 when Bitcoin started. We're going to start in 2010. Okay, September 20th, 2010, Bitcoin is at 6 cents. Okay. Where's my percentage increase calculator? Okay, man, we're at 0.06. Okay, we're at 6 cents, right? 6 cents. Look, if we just got to $1,728 per Bitcoin, we're looking at a 2,000,000% increase, my friend. 2,000,000% increase. Okay, but we're not going there. Okay, we're not doing that. Here's where we're gonna go. We're gonna keep it real, man. These are real numbers here. We're looking at the Bitcoin price chart. Okay, $9,353. All right, $9,353. We're looking at a 15,588. Sorry, tripping. 15,588,233% increase. Okay, 15,588,233% increase over 10 years. Look, get out of your emotions. Okay, some of you, I could tell you're emotional about gold because of the propaganda that you've been hearing over the last however long you've been alive about gold. All right, I'm showing you real numbers. Okay, this is real numbers. At gold, at best, over the last 10 years, you would have got 146% increase. Okay, on Bitcoin, I mean, at worst, you'd have been at 2 million over 10 years. You know what I mean? This is a 15,000,000% increase. You don't ever get that. Never. All right. So look, man. If let's do some math, right? Let's do some math. $1,000 divided by 0.06, right? This gives us our 6 cents. You get 16,666 Bitcoin times 9,503. Oh, let's do 353 like we did in the chart. 353. 155,883,333 off $1,000 investment. Don't get me wrong, man. You would have to hold on to your horses, you know, through this whole ride. These are big rides. From 6 cents, you'd have to hold it past the G, you know, hold it past 2,000, 4,000, hold it to 100, to 17,000, 20,000. You know what I mean? You'd have to hold it to the what's it called? That $20,000 price point, and then, you know, even hold it through all this 3,800, and just keep holding all the way until here. But if you did that, you know, and you sold today, you're looking at sorry, tripping. You're looking at 100. What was it? 1,000 divided by 0.06 times 9,000. Sorry, 9,353. 155 mil and 880,000. Don't get emotional, man. This is just business. It's just business. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at real numbers here, man. If if what we're talking about is gold, look, you want to use it to line your spaceship, great. All right. You want to eat it, awesome, fantastic. You want to make some money, I think I got a different place for you to put it. All right. All right, but look, let's go to another scenario. Let's say you're using it for currency, which is like, the other thing that people say is good about gold, using it for currency. Okay. Um, so that means that you're using it to purchase items, make payments for bills, payroll, chip in on dinner, loan some money to your nephew so he can make his car payment. This is what you'd be using. We would all be using gold as, right? If you have physical gold, which you should have physical gold, and we're talking about using gold as a currency, just use the physical, because otherwise we're back to fiat. We're trusting somebody to dish us out these points that correlate to how much gold is in the thing. This is fiat now. Now we're at fiat. We don't want to be there. We want to be in gold, right? Okay. So let's say you got some gold and you got to do any one of those things I just mentioned in terms of making payments. You go to a pawn shop or a jeweler and you sell your gold, right? Then you take that money into a bank and put it in your account and then send it via Cash App, or you drop that cash off. You go physically have to go to drop that cash off with somebody or whatever, right? And that's how you do it. With Bitcoin, people just accept Bitcoin. It's accepted, right? Or you could get a Bitcoin debit card and send the Bitcoin to your debit card and then make your payments like that. Or you cash it out to your bank account. Boom, it's in your bank account, and now you can send it. You know what I mean? Like that's the ease of Bitcoin. I don't have to take it down to some place, haggle with somebody on the price, come to a conclusion. He got to test it. He got to weigh it, then give me the money. Then I go to the bank or go meet somebody and drop it off. None of that. We don't got to do that. Okay? We just it's digital already, just like the fiat money that we're using. So we just go from one digital platform to another one, and boom, you can sell it or whatever, right? And all right, here's the other thing, right? I mean, how are you really going to pay for stuff with gold? Let's say you just use gold to do it, right? And let's say you got a troy ounce of gold. Are we going to do this like drugs? I got a scale. I break it off the brick. I measure it, I put it on the scale. Okay, I got 3.5 grams. Then I put it in a baggie, head down to the store, and he got a scale over there. We put the gold on the scale. He's like, oh, man, you off by 0.1 grams, bro. What? Nah, I just weighed it. Your scale is wrong, man. And you get into that argument. Is that how we're going to do it? Is that how you use gold as currency? I mean, to me, like, in today's world where literally just in the current system we have, I swipe a card and I'm off. I'm in my car and I'm gone and the money's good. Like, we go from that system to using gold? Sounds crazy to me. Sounds a little bit unrealistic. Now, gold as a store of value, hedging your bet, all that, I can see that, storing it in your vault, and when you're ready, go ahead and sell it to somebody for whatever, 50,000, 80,000, 300,000, whatever you get for it. I get it. I feel that. But day-to-day currency, I just can't see it, man. I can't see it right now. Not with the internet that we have today. It's not practical to me. Here's the other thing. There's types of gold. So now, not only do we got to break it off and measure it and make sure our measuring devices are on point, but we got types of gold. How much is a 9 carat piece of gold worth, or a 10 carat piece of gold worth, or a 12 carat, or 14, or 18, or 22, or 24? How do I know you didn't take some of this 24 and mix it with this 14 and stretch your gold, to get over on me? Do I have the proper, methods for testing it, apparatuses for testing it on the spot? Somebody has to give me a payment. I render services. They got to give me a payment now. I got to test the gold. Do I have what it takes to test the gold? What if I just did a shoot, which is what I do? I shoot video and photography. I'm out in the middle of the desert. I'm shooting a couple for their engagement, and they want to pay me in gold now. And we're in the middle of the desert. I gotta wheel around. I gotta carry with me, a triple beam scale or a digital scale. and then I gotta have like a gold testing thing in order to find out. I mean, just come on, man. Like, what are we talking about here? We're really talking about gold as a currency? Is that practical? Like, just keep it real, man. Is that practical? No emotion involved. Just think about it. Just think about it. All right. I just don't see it as something being practical. How are you going to pay for Amazon or your Netflix or any of this other stuff with gold? How would we do that with gold? We would have to have some kind of fiat intermediary system in order to use gold as a currency in today's digital economy. I just don't see it as being practical. You can argue with me all you want, but just provide the solution for how you would use gold with the internet, and you just can't. I don't see it anyway. In the comments, let me know if you can. Okay. All right, and then the last scenario, right, which is like the this is DEFCON 5 scenario, apocalyptic collapse, or at least some kind of governmental instability. All right, so you have the shutting down of public services, the effective defunding of government benefits. People are hungry. People are rioting against the government. People are looting stores to feed their families. People are looting each other. I mean, it's just absolute bedlam. It's insanity. Do you think people are going to want gold? And I would argue maybe in the beginning, I could see that. Like, if people think that the government will return soon, then I could see gold being something that people would want to hold on to. Because, like, these markets would be, they'd come back. They'd return. But, or maybe if it's even, like, isolated to, like, a nation or a region or something, I could see that. I could see that being a possibility. But then the ability to protect your gold becomes priority number one. And in a scenario like that, like, who's to say that, okay, you go to the corner and you're like, hey, man, I'll give you some gold for milk and eggs. And the dude says, oh, you're going to give me gold? And he says, okay, check this out. You're going to give me that gold, but I'm not going to give you anything. And matter of fact, I'm going to go to where you live and get the rest of it. Now you're in some kind of predicament, because it's physical. Somebody could just bash you in the head and take it. Now with crypto, at the very least, okay, you could have the bulk of your crypto stored on a cold wallet, or even on a just knowing the private key for it, and you could have a tiny amount for your day-to-day stuff in your regular wallet in your phone, and you could show the person, if you're getting robbed, you could just show the person, hey, this is all I got, just take it. And you send it to them, and at least they didn't get the bulk of your stuff. And even if they came to your house, ransacked it, turned it over, and all that stuff, they wouldn't even know what they're looking for. They really wouldn't know they wouldn't know it if they found it. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be written on a piece of paper. It could look like a USB drive. It could look like a hard drive. Like, they just wouldn't know, right? And this is like some of the properties of Bitcoin that make it very, like, valuable. People that consider it very valuable. So yeah, it's much more likely that if the internet exists in a scenario like that, if any currency would be used for trade, it would probably be cryptocurrencies, just for what I described right there. Could people use gold? For sure, people could use gold, but I mean, the people who would use gold would have, a small army, a militia protecting that gold. That's how that would go, right? But the reason why something like Bitcoin could be used is because no one controls it. It just works. It just runs. It just goes and goes and goes and goes, and it does what it does. That's it, right? And then people can contribute to its infrastructure and benefit, and be rewarded for that, as gold. As Bitcoin becomes used more and more, as the infrastructure that undergirds the internet, has the economy built back into it, right? Like, that's what would happen. And that's where I see the biggest difference between gold and Bitcoin, is that you can use Bitcoin on the internet, and the internet is such an integral part of the daily life people live on the planet. And if we were in some kind of apocalyptic scenario like that, then I could see like the things that would be valuable would be water, food, clothing, guns, other weapons, ammo, gas, transportation, things that people actually use that would have value. I don't think that eating gold or using gold to make computer parts. I don't think that that would be the the value proposition for trading with gold, right? You can't eat gold, you can't wear gold, you can't use gold to protect yourself. Like the things that would matter in a scenario like that, gold definitely wouldn't be used. And if a currency would be used one day, if there's no internet, okay, I'd probably give it to gold. I mean, I'd absolutely give it to gold. Bitcoin wouldn't exist. If there is internet still, then it's no brainer. We would end up using crypto, especially because it would be hard for somebody to trust anybody else on the planet, any entity, any bank, any government, to create new currency from scratch. And speaking of currency, I'd like to show. I'd like to talk about the properties of a currency. So first of all, scarcity. If you have too much of the currency, its value will plummet towards zero. So there must be a limited supply, right? Bitcoin, 21 million that'll ever be in existence, and we know that it's scarce. It's verifiable, which brings us to our next point: verifiability. You must be able to verify that a unit or token of the currency is valid and not a forgery or imitation. It's impossible to forge Bitcoin, but gold, there is, for like people who begin their endeavors investing in gold, get scammed into buying fake gold. It happens all the time. Fool's gold is a real thing that unfortunately plagues a lot of early investors in gold, or not, new investors in gold. Another thing is availability. Despite scarcity, there still must be a stable supply of the currency to match growth in the corresponding economy. Just like gold could be broken off into little crumbs in dust, so can Bitcoin. It could be divided by 100 million units, thus, scaling, providing that scalability, and availability as it's being used. You don't have to measure a Bitcoin. You just decide on how much of a Bitcoin, whether it's 0.000000001 Bitcoin or not. You would determine how much of that Bitcoin will be sold. So I do think gold is going to increase, probably double or triple in value in the next few years. I really see fiat currencies going out of style, baby, and but in terms of using gold on the internet, no question, Bitcoin is the only option there. But yeah, hope you liked the video. Hope this provided some value and some insight. Comment below, like, subscribe. I'm going to try to post every day. Hope all is well with y'all. Hope y'all are safe. Hope you're in good spirits, good health. And I will see you at the next video. Peace.